Hello, welcome back to my world of stuff. It's time for another physical media update. Although, to be fair, this is more of a show and tell because there's very little physical. Well, there's sort of a bit of physical media here, but there's not a big stack of Blu-rays and DVDs and things. There is one Blu-ray, a couple of CDs, and some books and things, collectibles. So I'm going to call this a collectible update. Welcome. Yes, right, okay, here we are. An update to a few bits and pieces that have come my way in the last week or so. Not a lot of Blu-ray, DVD type things around at the moment that I've been picking up, but a few interesting collectible things that you might be interested in. So I thought I'd just do a quick video to run through them. And I will do the physical media Blu-ray thing first, so you don't have to watch the whole video. But please do like and subscribe, by the way. Stick around. I picked this up at a charity shop in Swansea a couple of days ago. Notting Hill on Blu-ray with a slipcover, a few slipcover fanatics. And this is actually still in its shrink wrap. This is from HMV originally. And this cost me the princely sum of 75 pence in a charity shop. When I bought it, because the volume of Blu-rays I've got, I wasn't sure I had it. I must have Notting Hill on Blu-ray. I must have. Haven't. I'm quite pleased to find out as I come into the cinema room this morning. Haven't got it, so I've got it now. This is a film I've only seen once. Of course, it's a Richard Curtis classic. I'm not a massive rom-com person, but this is from a particular moment in time in sort of British films. And yeah, quite intrigued to take a look at this again at some point. Don't know when I'll watch it, but nice to have it on Blu-ray. That was, let's say, 75p. A couple of CDs for those of you who are interested in such archaic stuff, media. Yeah, I picked up this. I bought this off Amazon. This is the new album for OMD, Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. It's called Bauhaus Staircase. I do like a bit of electro music. I'm quite a fan of electro music from the 80s, including OMD and Human League and Heaven 17, those sorts of bands. And this, I was aware this had come out. It wasn't on my radar to pick up, but I saw their performance on Later with Jools Holland a couple of weeks ago, where they did the title track, Bauhaus Staircase, and another track, Don't Go. And they were both very good. And on that basis, I thought, I'm going to get that, because as I say, I like that sort of slightly cold electro sound, and they were both good tunes. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. As soon as I finish recording this, it's going on the CD player, because I still have one. OMD. This one is picked up from eBay. This is by Tim Finn, and it's called Big Canoe. Tim Finn was one of the members of Crowded House, who some of you might remember from the 80s, had hits like Weather With You and 4 Seasons in One Day. Australian band. A convoluted reason why I picked this up. I've recently been watching on Netflix a series called Bodies, which incidentally is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. If you love time travel, time paradoxy things, really clever. It's about a body, a dead body that's found in a back alley in London in 4 different time periods, the same body, and how it has a connection with the future. Really clever. It's sort of part detective murder thriller. It's part quite hard science fiction. Brilliant. In the cast is an actress called Greta Scacchi. She was quite a big star in the 80s, very attractive, and she made a lot of films. Faded away a little bit, and she turned up in a series called The Terror a few years ago, and she plays a fairly major part in this series, Bodies. Of course, she's 62 now. And I realised it was her, and I remembered a song that she appeared in, the music video to a song in the 80s. I think the album, 86, it was called Carve You in Marble. Don't think it was a hit, it wasn't a hit, but it was very 80s. If you listen to the song now, there is a very poor quality video on YouTube, but it's very 80s production, but it's quite a punchy, sharp pop song. And the video has Tim Finn, who's actually going out with Greta Scacchi at the time, and it's sort of filmed in reverse, so there's scenes of her sort of jumping backwards and things happening backwards. Clever video and a really good song. And I just looked and thought, well, I haven't got that. I think I've got it on vinyl somewhere, but I wanted it on CD. So I tracked down the album it was on. I tracked it down on eBay. I picked up Big Canoe, which includes that and some other tracks. Some of the reviews say it's a bit earnest in terms of the lyrics about the ecology and environment and so on, years ahead of their time in a way. But yeah, I'm quite looking forward to listening to that a bit later on. So that's an unusual choice. Then we have bookie type stuff. This arrived early this week. This is the latest original Doctor Who graphic novel, Once Upon a Time Lord, by Dan Slott, with art by Mike Collins and Christopher Jones, Matthew Dow Smith. This was announced a few months ago, and the recommended retail price is 15 quid. And Amazon had it on sale for $6.99. I thought, well, that's quite interesting. It features David Tennant's 10th Doctor. It finally came out. I think it's been put back a couple of times. It finally came out last week, and it was actually reduced to £6.15. So I had a bit of a refund from Amazon, which is always nice. And I read it. It didn't take me long to read it. It's only, 50 pages or something. And it's quite a fun sort of story with nice artwork. And some more atmospheric artwork for the main part of the story. Story is Martha Jones and the Doctor go to visit a fair on an alien planet. Martha falls under the thrall of creatures called pyromeths, who feed off story energy. When they're told stories, it sort of strengthens them, and they force Martha to tell her stories, and Martha tells them stories about the Doctor, untold stories of the Doctor's adventures, and that all links up at the end. And then there's a separate story with the Doctor and Rose, which is the Ninth Doctor and Rose, which is slightly silly, but yeah, it's quite good fun. I wouldn't have paid $14.99 for it. Quite pleased to have it for £6. That's available online now if you are interested in your Doctor Who comics, Once Upon a Time Lord. Two other books. I picked this up. I may have mentioned it in the previous video, I'm not sure. This is called The Drift by C.J. Tudor. This came out in hardback a few months back, and I remember looking at the shops and thinking, oh, that sounds quite interesting. I bought it now because the writer C.J. Tudor, one of her earlier books, The Burning Girls, is now a mini-series on Paramount Plus. Recently watched it. There is a review of it in the next issue of Starburst, which is coming out beginning of December. I really enjoyed the series, and I quite fancied this book at the time. I thought I'll take a punt on it now. An overturned coach full of students, all of them are trapped, a stranded cable car full of strangers. One of them is dead, an isolated chalet full of friends, soon they'll be enemies. Outside a snowstorm rages, inside each group a killer lurks. And I think it's also a post-apocalyptic thing. There's some sort of apocalyptic scenario in the background. That sounds like a really nice sort of winter evening read, a winter afternoon read. And I'll be getting into that as soon as I can. I haven't started it yet. I also picked up this. I got this from Amazon. Story behind this as well, not hugely interesting. This is Adrian Edmondson's autobiography, Berserker. I was a big fan of Rick Mayall and Adrian Edmondson. It was a tragedy when Rick Mayall passed away, still quite young. I love the young ones. I love Bottom, Filthy Rich and Cat loads of stuff they did. And Adrian Edmondson is obviously the remaining half of that partnership. Not that they worked exclusively as a partnership. They did lots of separate things, and Adrian Edmondson is now carving out quite an impressive career as an actor. I wanted to read this when it came out. He was booked to do, in fact, he's been doing a tour of the country, sort of an on-stage Q&A type thing, talking about his life and anecdotes and things and taking questions from the audience. He was due to come to Cardiff, and I booked a ticket a few months ago to see him on the 28th of September in a venue called the St David's Hall in the centre of Cardiff. I like St David's Hall because it's not massive. It's a venue that goes back to the 70s, 80s, so it's quite old-fashioned in some ways. But it's a nice sort of intimate place, and I see a lot of mid-tier concerts there. And I booked a ticket, and unfortunately there's been this controversy about crumbling concrete. I can't remember exactly what they call it. A lot of buildings are being renovated and closed down and so on. Unfortunately, St David's Hall, one of them, it's actually closed until early in 2025, which is a shame because I do go there quite a lot, and I've got a few other events booked, a couple of which I've had to cancel. Anyway, they were trying to reschedule it. They were trying to reschedule the event, that's now been formally cancelled, so I had a refund for it, so I bought the book. The book was actually included as part of the ticket price. So you see the show and you get the book. I've now picked up my copy of it, and this is one that I will read over Christmas because it's sort of a tradition. I like to read a biography over Christmas, so I've got that, and I'll probably pick up something else. Not heavy biographies, just sort of, pop culture biographies, if you like. Final thing to show you in this episode is a collectible. I got this from Corgi recently. Corgi are now doing die-cast models of Jerry Anderson vehicles. I think I showed you the Angel Interceptor in my last video. And this just arrived this week. Thunderbird Classics, Thunderbird 2 and Thunderbird 4. These are very nice. I know they did these in the 60s. I dare say I had them in the 60s, but as I've said before, I'm in a big nostalgia mode these days and picked up this, which is still in its box. Going to stay in its box, look nice in this box and in display. And I suspect they'll be releasing more of these sorts of things, and I suspect I'll be buying them. I was quite pleased to get that earlier this week in a big old box, and that's going to go in my cabinet in the cinema room next to my Captain Scarlet things. Anyway, that's it for this episode of Show and Tell, as I've decided to call it. Thank you for watching. Hope you found it vaguely enjoyable. If you have, why not like and subscribe? Like and subscribe to this channel, because I do stuff like this, and I do film reviews and unboxings and cinema trips and a lot of Doctor Who stuff at the moment, obviously. A lot of Doctor Who stuff coming up, so if you're not a Doctor Who fan, become one, or come back in a month's time, because there's a lot of Doctor Who stuff coming up. Right, thank you for watching. As I said, like and subscribe, leave a comment. I'll see you soon. Until I do, keep taking the stuff.